You avoid confrontation and
personal relationships.
Personal relationships. So how'd that go? Meaning, if you avoid confrontation, you kind of avoid resolution, no?
Yeah, and talking things through, right? Because I grew up in an atmosphere where it was very combative as a child.
Mm-hmm.
My father was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with the alcohol.
Mm.
He's either the best dad of all time, or he comes home and he's just constant fights with my mom and yelling. Sometimes we have to leave, and not knowing which
you have no idea.
Not knowing which dad was coming home that night.
Yep.
I remember like around 4:30, she would get a call from work, and I'd be like, "How'd he sound?" She goes, "He hasn't been drinking," and it was just the happiness would wash over me. But if she's like, he's drinking, it's still frightening to think of.
Because the thing about, I grew up in alcoholism, and my dad was an alcoholic, and it truly is like, there's nowhere to run.
Yeah.
Like and you don't know, it's like being bombed. You don't know what it's like being just like in Yemen or something. You're like, I don't know where to hide. And I don't even know how to diffuse it. Did you get better at diffusing them, or did that even?
No, like, you try to please,
Yeah.
And then you try to do that. The things you like, you learn to like please, and what you end up doing in relationships, or you learn to keep secrets.
Yeah.
What you end up doing in relationships. You learned all these bad habits from growing up with an alcoholic, and it took me a long time before I could take responsibility of my own actions and go, yeah, that happened, but I can't fucking keep keeping secrets. I can't stop pleasing.
Right.
I mean, I gotta stop. I gotta always not try to fix things. Maybe just talk and see what each of you need, as opposed to like, oh, you're unhappy, what can I do?
Yeah.
Because I want to be happy. I want our home to be happy, not like my childhood home.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into heavy conversations, because if you get upset, I'm going to feel alone and frightened.
Upset, does that include crying, or does that include yelling? Is that just yelling?
No, it doesn't even happen them. They don't, like, I'm really, like, avoid confrontation. So, like, I'm not going to raise my voice. And I don't want them to raise theirs, but it's just, I feel like it's an odd feeling, but they don't even have to like yell or cry. It's just, if I feel a disconnect, that's painful.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
And how would you, if you felt the disconnect, would you then go into like please mode? Let me please them and let me get them back, however? Sometimes
I've gone into like internal, and like I kind of shut down. Right? Which is
anger. Is it an angry shutdown, or is it a hurt shutdown?
It's a hurt shutdown, but there's an anger swirling.
Because they made you do this.
The night was going great.
And
then we get into this talk, and now look at us.
Yeah.
And watch me wither.
Yeah.
So selfish, right? And by shutting down, you're just making things worse. And so, you just have to realize that. Check in with myself, realize what's going on, realize what I'm doing and I'm bringing to it, and going, well, you're making it a lot fucking worse. How about acting like a grown-up and talking about it? you get there. And I don't do this every time, but I've done it.
You don't do the right thing every time, or you don't do the wrong thing every time?
I don't do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I don't every time. I don't shut down. And But that I've done that, and
it's really hard. First of all, relationships are incredibly hard,
but I just got to learn not to make them harder. You know?
Yeah, but they're just even saying what you mean takes like excavation.
Well, you got to really trust the other person to be able to say what you mean, and
that they can take it, that they can.
I'm in a relationship now that I feel like I can tell her anything, and we can talk it out, and she's not going to punish me or run from me, or because these are things that you think if I really tell her this or that,
that'll be the end.
Yeah. You get really
you have the thing where
catastrophic thinking.
Yep. If somebody doesn't text you back, they've ghosted you.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Ghost me.
No, well, of course. Of course, go fuck yourself. But I'm saying, are you scared that people are mad at you?
The only time that I get worried about that is like if you send something where you think is funny but a little off color, and then you don't hear back, you're like,
right,
I'm a monster.
Yeah.
Then I get worried.
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Right? Yeah. Then I'll get worried.
But then you'll evolve into, you know what? Fuck you, ghost me. You don't be friends with me if you can't take a little going ugly or acting
right.
Ugly.
Like I never want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I read an article or a book about anger, and it said people that grow up the way you grow up, the way I grew up, have never seen things peacefully resolved.
Yeah.
I've just never seen it. So if someone and I have a disagreement, I'm immediately like, get my fucking glass, my shiv. I'm going into the mosh pit, And so to just say like, no, you can speak openly and honestly and with care, and they can also. And I'm assuming you're in the kind of relationship where the relationship's better off 25 minutes later than it was when you when you weren't saying because you were afraid she's gonna.
Yeah. It's just shit that's built up in you that is not useful in your life.
Yeah.
And to be with someone that I trust so much and I can talk to, and grew up in a great household where people talk things out peacefully, and she does. And so it's like, it's wonderful.
Does the thing happen where you say you'll inadvertently get into combat language, and she'll be like, no.
You get into what?
Like sort of combative language, or combative, like you're going into a bad habit zone, and she can like.
I don't get into
mediate
combative
with your tone.
I don't really like. We've never raised our voice to each other.
Great.
I just couldn't imagine.
Or not even combative, just a bad habit of like
the bad habit is
saying
just
something
like
you're not saying something.
Just shutting down.
Yeah.
And going quiet. Right?
Yep. Do you feel sorry for yourself?
Well, it was a learned language from a past relationship, and
sulking,
which I ended up adopting from that person, which is I'm not just, but I realized like I wasn't like that before. I inherited that, and so it's good to like have those realizations. So you're like, okay, that's not useful to you, or where you're at now. But you can inherit bad habits like that.
Like it's an emotional STD.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Truly what it is. Like you pick up like, oh, I'm gonna, the American military always fights the last war.
Right.
So in Afghanistan, they're fighting Iraq from 1991. You know what I mean? Like so you're just going like, this is the state of warfare, but it's old and doesn't even. And again, I'm thinking of it as war.
Well, that's because we grew up that way, and it felt like it's like a combat zone.
Yeah.
Which I can't imagine what a real combat zone feels like, but you know.
Yeah, emotionally, you can understand.
Hey, did you like that? Did you like that? Yeah, did you like it though? You want more? Don't want to work? Would rather watch videos of me grab-assing with people? First of all, go up here to subscribe, and then go up here to watch more clips. This is like when the weatherman says that there's a high pressure system coming in. I'm not really used to the green screen.